we have. You know, you want to, if you're in, you're a developer, you want to create a building. You know, first there's, let's go find the piece of land. And you go out and you find the land. There's nothing there. There's no desire. There's nothing there. Nothing's built yet, but just the thought to do it and finding the area. Then there's building the plans, actual construction, then all the problems that occur, because again, usually nothing goes according to plan, and then finally, the building. So there's a process that happens in our life. Nothing just goes and we want and it happens. There's always a process that happens, always. Part of the study of Kabbalah is understanding the process. An analogy I like to give is like a movie, right? One of my favorite movies growing up was Die Hard with Bruce Willis. Anyone see the movie? Die Hard, Bruce Willis? Okay. Okay. So, Bruce Willis is just a regular guy in the movie. And life as usual, right? His life as usual. Suddenly something happens. There's like a call to action, a call to adventure. And he goes and he starts, okay, I need to save all these people in the building. I'm going to go, one guy is going to beat 200 terrorists, right? And he goes, call to action. So I need to do something. Then in every movie, there's always a third step where he's about to give up. The challenges come, right? A challenge occurs. And then though it's always, is he going to give up? Is he now? You know, in romantic comedies, right? There's always they split up and, oh, they're never going to be together. Right? They split up and then, oh, at the end of the movie, they're together. They overcome the challenge. Those are the levels we have. One is life as usual. We all have certain parts of our life that are life as usual. Then there's a call to adventure, something we want more, right? We want a better relationship. We want a better work. We want a promotion. We want something. Then there's always a challenge. There's always a challenge. If we're ever to achieve something in our life, there's always going to be a challenge. Once we overcome that challenge, we have a true desire, or deeper in Kabbalah, we call it a vessel. We have a vessel to then hold in it the fulfillment of whatever it is. So we have to have those levels. Life as usual, boring. Then, okay, I want something. Then a challenge, and then boom, we overcome. Interestingly, the bigger the challenge, the more we overcome, the bigger the fulfillment after. The higher the challenge, the higher we rise, the more we get at the end. And that I want to share with you, it's one of the concepts in Kabbalah, the whole idea of desire, the idea of a vessel. But remembering that there's a process. It's like, you know, if you cut off an apple or an orange from a tree, and you cut it off before it's ripe. You cut an orange while it's still green. It's not ripe yet. And you eat it and it tastes terrible. Does that mean there's something wrong with the tree? No. The tree's fine. The problem was we took it off before it was time. There's always a process in anything. There's a seed goes into the ground. No tree appears overnight. Seed, roots, bark, and even the fruit takes time before it's ripe. Those level of desires have to occur. There's always going to be a process. Even in the actual wisdom of Kabbalah, there's been a process. We'll briefly go over the historical connections of Kabbalah. The first documented book of Kabbalah was written by Abraham 4,000 years ago. No one knows about it. He writes the book. There's not that many people in the universe anyway, and he just writes the book. 2,000 years ago, the Bible of Kabbalah is created. The Zohar, very large compilation of work that's written by Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. He writes this book, which is considered till today the Bible of Kabbalah. And again, there was a great revelation. The first time Kabbalah was taught publicly. How many people was it taught to? 10. That was the big revelation, called the Idra Rabbah. The big revelation had 10 people, 2,000 years ago. 1,300 years ago, the Zohar is first published, is printed. After it's printed in modern printing presses, it's translated for the first time. Not translated into Hebrew, not translated by Jews, translated into Latin by the Christian Kabbalists. Again, we sometimes have a misconception that maybe it's Jewish mysticism. But the first language that Kabbalah is translated into is Latin. Not till the 20th century is the Zohar actually translated into Hebrew. In the 20th century, Yehuda Ashlag translates to modern language, not only into Hebrew, but an explanation that fits the everyday man. His student, Yehuda Brandwein, is my father's teacher. My father taught me, and now I'm here teaching. Just like a building, a movie has that process, Kabbalah had that process. Years ago, Kabbalah was limited to men as opposed to women. Married, they had to be 40 years old. And it's process. Till today, where men, women, children, Jews, Muslims, Christians, all are studying. In fact, 90%, 90-ish% of